Is Resident Evil 4 truly a masterpiece? Is Obama black? Yes, it is a masterpiece. And I will explain to you non-believers and you believers why. But before I do, go to hit that like and subscribe button. Your boy's always posting frequently. Hit that notification bell. Don't want to miss out on anything, you know what I mean? But now that that's out of the way, let's just dive right into this. Now, Resident Evil 4 has changed gaming. To this day, people are still using the camera angle from Resident Evil 4 and taking a lot more from Resident Evil 4. Series such as Dead Space, Gears of War, God of War, BioShock, and many more was heavily influenced by Resident Evil 4, and clearly by the camera angles you can tell for most of them. Now, Resident Evil 4's camera angle, why was it such a big deal back then? I mean, well, not even back then, to this day. Why is it still such a big thing? Because Resident Evil 4 was the first game to actually perfect the over-the-camera angle. And really, it wasn't original. It wasn't an original thing the way they use it, the snappiness of it, the hordes of enemies they throw at you. The camera angle makes you rely on your reflexes, your precision, and timing. No game perfected that or just even made a somewhat decent over-the-shoulder camera angle, a third-person angle. Resident Evil 4 came and blew everything out the water. We at that point in time never seen nothing like that. It is the grandfather, and still the best to this day. I don't care what anybody says. It's still the best to this day. As you can see in all these other titles, some of the titles I named, clear influence, and some games even build on top of it. Resident Evil 4 was a perfect mixture of third-person action and survival horror. Very, very rare thing a rare occasion when you see a game mix the two. Now, yes, Resident Evil 4 wasn't a straight-up scary game. It wasn't, but I think people have a misconception on what horror truly is. Horror doesn't mean you're gonna jump. You're gonna jump every time, or you're just gonna slide up under your covers in fear. That's not really the true meaning of horror. Horror can be anything to the point of doubt, of being curious what's around the corner, you know, the unknowing, you know what I mean? And I feel like Resident Evil 4 has that. Now, like I said, it's not a scary game. You're not going to be terrified playing this game. But things down to the regenerator enemies, that is scary. The sound they make, the little that sound, that is scary. That is horror. Even when you make it to the castle with the villagers with the hoods, that's horror. They are terrifying. Those are terrifying enemies. Put yourself in Leon's shoes in that type of situation. You will be scared out your ass, bro. You will be scared out your mind. Those are scary type of enemies. So just because they're not jumping out of the dark, making you jump and almost drop your controller like Outlast, doesn't mean the game isn't horror. The game has horror. It just might not be the type of horror that you want, but there's horror in there. The survival aspect, you don't want to overuse your bullet. Even though, yes, the game gives you a decent amount of ammo, you have all these guns and everything, I understand it. But true Resident Evil fam, no. People in this community, I'm not talking about newbies, you know, that just think Resident Evil 4 is just, oh, I can dump a bunch of bullets into enemies and just waste all this ammo. No, it's still a Resident Evil 4. It's still a Resident Evil game at the end of the day. What does that mean? That means using your knife so you can preserve ammo. Shooting your enemies in the kneecap so you can do melee attacks to save ammo. Everybody knows the melee and the knife combination save you plenty of ammo. There's still survival in this game. Herbs, big emphasis on herbs. Still, you need herbs. Perfect mixture of herbs especially to expand your health bar. Herbs are a serious thing in Resident Evil 4. Believe it or not, it's not just run and gun and dump and just shoot everything in sight. There's still strategy and survival that you need to put into this game, so you at least don't struggle. You know what I mean? Now, one thing that doesn't get talked about Resident Evil 4 a lot is the AI and the leveling in this game. And I might have not even put that the best way possible, but when I explain it, you'll understand. Now, when I say the leveling, no, a lot of people do not know the fact that if you die a lot in Resident Evil 4, if say if you're playing on normal and you die a lot, the game will dumb it down for you because it will see that you're trash. Let's just keep it real. If you die a lot, you're garbage. They're like, okay, let's dial down the heat on him a little bit. He's struggling. It is clear he can't get past it. So they dial down the heat. Just pop in Resident Evil 4 right now and die a couple times in a castle section. You'll notice they'll kind of get away. They'll get rid of enemies and make it lesser and lesser to make it easier on the player. A lot of people do not know that. That is a hidden gem in that game. Unless you're playing on professional, that it's gonna do it. So I thought that was always pretty dope. To take it easier on a person that's just not as good at the game, that just wants to play on normal and not cookie cutter easy mode. You're not a man if you play on easy mode. I'm just saying. But that's a pretty dope feature, and it make a person feel like they're actually doing something, because a lot of people until now, I probably spoiled it for you. AI in the game. Now, I'm not gonna say the AI is just like so goddamn smart. They're not as smart as Fear 2. Fear 2 is still to this day the smartest AI in gaming I've ever played. Like that game has intelligent AI, and it's beautiful. I wish a lot more games would adapt that. Ubisoft. The AI in this game, when they see you aiming, they're gonna duck, they're gonna move left, they're gonna move right, they're gonna try to avoid bullets. They're gonna throw objects at you to take your eyes off them. You know what I mean? The AI is pretty damn decent, especially for the horror sections where you have plenty of enemies coming at you. It is actually pretty damn fun and pretty stressful at times. You got to be careful with what you're doing, so it adds a bit of challenge, you know. Now, the story of Resident Evil, pretty cliche, cookie cutter story. The story is not what sells Resident Evil 4, but it's still a damn good story for what it is. You know what I mean? Definitely a top Resident Evil story. You know, just Leon trying to rescue the president's daughter. I mean, it's Hollywood. It's a Hollywood type of story, and the funny part is, I love the fact that they put little Easter eggs about Hollywood. I believe Sadler said to Leon, "This is not one of your Hollywood type of stories or whatever. You're not gonna get the ending that you want, you know." So I thought that was brilliant. I love some of the lines in Resident Evil. Yes, some of it is corny and everything, but it's perfect. The bingo line, that's an iconic line in itself, bro. Everybody knows the bingo line in Resident Evil 4, but the story, nothing special, but there was a lot of great iconic moments. Leon versus Krauser, the knife fight, that was fire. Yeah, Ada Wong, everybody loves Ada Wong. There's a lot of great stuff in this in the story alone. The story itself might be just decent to good, but there's a lot of greatness in the story mode, the scenes and everything. Now, the characters, yes, I think Resident Evil 4 has iconic ass characters that enhance the greatness of this game. Of course, everybody loves Leon Kennedy. Everybody, Leon is amazing, definitely a top Resident Evil character of all time. But then you got Ada Wong. Everybody loves Ada. Ada is fire in this damn story. Even though you don't see her way too much, but you see her enough that you appreciate her. Sadler is a great villain. He is up there as a top Resident Evil villain. I believe he's top 3. Me personally, Wesker, and then I have Mother Miranda, and then Sadler. Those 3 are the best ones in my opinion. Ashley sucks dick. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I do not like Ashley. That is one of the negatives to this game. Ashley is horrendous. Hopefully the remake fixes it. You know what I mean? Fixes her. But those 3 characters alone are just iconic to the Resident Evil series as a whole. The levels were pretty good in this game. I actually loved a lot of the levels, but yes, there are some unnecessary portions of the game. I think the one, riding in the mines, riding in the back of the truck, that area. The last portion of the game on the island was trash to me, but other than that, everything else hit perfectly. The levels were perfect. I just believe there was some fat that had to be trimmed in this game. Like I said, this game, I believe it's a masterpiece just like everybody else, but nothing's perfect, if that makes sense. It can be a masterpiece, but it's not perfect. There is some stuff that's some fat that need to be trimmed, or some unnecessary stuff that was in this game. You know what I mean? Touching back on the villains, Saddler, the the little midget guy, I forgot his name for some odd ass reason. I can't think of his name. Those are great villains, man. Even Wesker in the background. Wesker didn't play a huge role. Well, he kind of did because he's the reason why Ada's there. But Wesker was in it briefly. You know, he had his mini sections where he pops up at on the phone. The villains in this game are top tier. They are fun. You despise them. They're evil. They just have an iconic presence. And I feel like they're somewhat underrated because out of all the Resident Evil games, you don't really hear them get talked about enough. But trust me, the villains in this game are pretty damn great. Now, the one thing about Resident Evil 4 that even enhances the iconic game as a whole is the extra content that comes with the game. Now, not on GameCube, because GameCube just had the story, and I believe it had mercenaries. That was it. But when it came to the PlayStation 2, the better system, Capcom knew they had to put extra to even make the game even better. You knew it sold well on the GameCube, I believe. So you know the better console was just gonna do way better. And that's when Resident Evil 4 really shined when it came to PS2. The extra content, we got 2 Ada Wong campaigns. One was a little shorter, probably like a 30-minute type of campaign, and then we got Separate Ways, which in itself was fucking amazing. An amazing DLC. A lot of games to this day does not have better DLC than what we got back all the way in 04 with Resident Evil 4. Separate Ways is what DLC needs to be. It was so perfect, and you can run back and play through it so many times, just like the original game. The replayability was ridiculous with Resident Evil 4. If you didn't like how Ashley kept getting picked up and you had to, worry about her, beat the game once or twice. I forgot. Once or twice, you can put Ashley in a night suit. So when enemies pick her up, they'll just automatically drop with her. Because, the night suit is too heavy. You don't, other than Resident Evil games, you don't see dope shit like that in other games. The replayability and the unlockables in this game are just fantastic. The infinite rocket launcher, the Tommy gun, the laser beam, which I think is only on PS2. But, Resident Evil 4 is on every goddamn thing nowadays. So I'm pretty sure all the features are there. Except GameCube. If you go back to GameCube, you will not have any of those features. But all the unlockable guns, the outfit, you can dress Leon up as a mafia member or put him in his LAPD outfit. There's a lot of dope content in this game that warrants a lot of replayability. I've beaten Resident Evil 4 probably about like 20 to 30 times, bro, honestly. All across the board on different consoles, you know what I mean? Resident Evil 4 is on the phone, the tablet, shit, it's on everything, bro. Like, it's crazy how far Resident Evil 4 came. You would have thought it just would have stayed on just, the Sony platforms because of how amazing it did, but it's literally on everything. It's on the Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch. I mean, I bought my girl that my girl loves Resident Evil 4. She plays on Nintendo Switch. It is amazing that you can get a hold to this game just anywhere. That is how legendary this game is. You do not see games with that type of resume. It's on literally every single thing. The only one I can actually say that to is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Another legendary, revolutionary, iconic ass game, bro. When you say masterpieces and games that influence a whole gaming culture, there's not many that you can say. Off the top of my head, Resident Evil 4, Legend of Zelda. I don't like Legend of Zelda, but I'm not a hater to the fact it influenced and fathered a lot of these RPG type of games and everything. It is one of them. Mario. And I don't know, maybe Half-Life. That's off the top of my head. That there's not too many games you can say influence the whole gaming culture and influence games to this day. And Resident Evil 4 is clearly one of them. So I do not understand when people do not see the greatness with Resident Evil 4. If you are a late bloomer and you played this shit all the way into 2021, yeah, of course you're not gonna probably like the controls and stuff because you've played newer titles. That's nobody's fault but your own. But I want this remake. I'm ecstatic for it. I know a lot of people are, but a lot of people did not want this remake. They didn't feel it needed to be touched. You can't say that for a lot of games. A lot of games, if gaming companies announced a remake for said game, a lot of people will welcome it with open arms. Not Resident Evil 4. People were like, why ruin a masterpiece? Why ruin the perfect game? Why ruin it? It doesn't need to be remade. I guarantee you can name 1,000 games. Okay, let me not go that far. You can name over 100 to 200 games over the last 20 years, and people will not complain about a remake. I mean, they will not complain about it being remade. Remember, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 1 just got remade. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, didn't want it, but a lot of people did. It's kind of like in that Ori phase. Like I said, a rare occasion. Last of Us, an iconic game. You know what I mean? An iconic game. No, it didn't originate nothing, but it's still an iconic game. You don't see that happen too often with these games. I feel like a lot of people just need to understand instead of hating when it comes to the RE4. Trust me, I get some of the critiques of RE4. I get it. I'm not saying it's a perfect game by any means, but what you cannot deny is no matter how much you might not understand or don't like it, the game is a masterpiece. No debating. All in all, that is my take on Resident Evil 4 and why it is a masterpiece. There is some fat that need to be trimmed, but I believe the remake will do that, and the remake will be even more perfect than the original, and that's my opinion. Because all you have to do is trim the fat and just keep everything the way it was, and just add newer stuff to it. You got another perfect game. Capcom are geniuses. Just believe in Capcom. Capcom has not let us down yet, bro, since Resident Evil 6. So, that's all I have to say, man. Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece. Argue with your bald-headed ass mama. I don't give a damn what y'all talking about. Haters go hate. Resident Evil 4 is the shit. But that is all, guys. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Like I said, turn that notification bell on. Your boy is going to be posting a lot this week. So, there's that. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.